Dacoda,
Yep.
welcome to the podcast. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming one more time. What was it? 2022 was the last time?
Yeah. I think it was right before the first comedy festival that I was on your podcast. So yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yeah. Well, welcome to our new set. Changing sets every year, but we're here.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, out of your house and into an actual set. It's nice.
Yeah, we're moving up in the world.
It looks good. It looks good. Yeah.
So the comedy show. This is the third year. You said you had, before we started recording, you said like 500 people. So for people that don't know what the comedy show, could you tell us a little bit about what this festival is about?
Yeah. So the comedy festival, Coachella Valley Brewery Comedy Fest, started in 2022. Always in March. And that first year was just such a big success. Like I said, around 500 people, 2 years in a row. That this year we're actually expanding to 3 days. So Friday through Sunday, March 22nd through 24th. Just hoping to grow it bigger and better and bring some great, out of town comics all the way from Canada this year. So, just bringing great comedy to the Coachella Valley.
So how many comedians do you have? 3 days? Are they the same comedians like performing each day, or are you gonna rotate them? Or
so because a lot of comedians are traveling from like LA and whatnot, like I just have them performing for the 1 day. But there's a lot of locals as well, so you're gonna be getting a good mix every single day. Some people will overlap, but for the most part, like the headliners are different every day. So you get a brand new comedy show. Actually, a few comedy shows. There's going to be about 9 happening throughout the day between 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. So it's all day.
What do you mean nine shows?
So every half hour, there will be a new show starting on a different stage at the venue.
Oh, how many stages do you have?
We have 3 stages. So there'll be 3 shows per stage between 2 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Okay, so so if people miss like a block, they could just wait 30 minutes for a fresh block.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like if one of the shows, like, there's no more seats available, just, mosey on over to the next stage and, catch another one. But, this year is actually the first year we're incorporating tickets. The first 2 years were free, all-day events. But because of the success of it and all the hard work that goes into it, we decided to implement some tickets. Everyone could show their support. It's, pretty minimal compared to other festivals. It's just $30 for an all-day pass. So, you can show up at 2 o'clock, get your access, and then, stick around for the whole day and, get amazing comedy for $30. Pretty good.
I mean, 7 hours of entertainment. Like sometimes people get scared of like, oh, I got to pay. But it's like, people pay $40 for a 2-hour movie, and then that movie might be mid too. So
like Oppenheimer. Yeah, that's a little people. Get their money back. That's worth it. That's worth it. Yeah.
Barbie though,
Barbie.
I don't know about.
I know they got snubbed. At the Oscars.
I wouldn't pay $40 to go see Barbie. But.
But I mean, people go to LA. They see a comedy show at the Comedy Store or whatever. You're paying like $30 for just one show, or you go to the casinos and you pay like $60 to $100 for a show, and that's just one show. And here you're getting pretty high level talent, people from LA that are on their way to becoming these people that are headlining at casinos and touring on SNL, doing whatever, and you get to see them kind of on their way up, which is really cool.
And how do you convince those people? Like, hey, come out to Coachella Valley, bro. We got this fucking comedy show. Like, how does that?
It's not too hard to convince because it's just such a good good city. Everyone loves the Palm Springs vibes, and so it's just like, hey, putting together. It's like the Avengers, like Nick Fury calling them up, like, I'm putting together a team, and so they're just like, everyone's been super supportive. All the comics. They just love to perform, and they want to be a part of something, and I love them to be a part of it too. We all grow together. Rising tides raise all ships. So it's a real community effort.
And how do you see the local comedy scene from where you started 2 years ago doing the show? Because how long have you been doing comedy out here now?
I moved here in April of 2018. So it's, 6 years, almost 7 years, something like that. I'm not good at math. But it's been a little while now. But I mean, when I first started there, besides the casinos and whatnot, there really weren't any independent comedy shows. There was only a handful of comics regularly doing it. And since then, there's I would say there's probably about 25 local comics now.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I mean, just continuing to do shows, open mics and whatnot has just blown up the scene. And comedy shows that I've been producing at Coachella Valley Brewery and some other places across the desert, and also stuff that you've been putting on. Like it all helps the local comedy scene and gives everyone opportunities. So it's a big effort by everyone, and everyone's reaping the benefits of it.
No, that's why when I first started hearing about comedy, like I remember that was it. It's just like, oh, the hood is having like an open mic.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing some comedians then too. But then it's like when you go to a bar that has those open mics, it's like half of the people are there either they're with their friends, they don't care about what's going on.
Yeah.
There's people that are there to see like the rock band that plays right after. It's like the comedy just kind of in between. So having like a show that's just dedicated to comedy, gets people more engaged. And I feel like for comedians, like you finally get a good chance to express yourself.
Oh, 100%. Like comedy for the first few years after I moved here was a little bit an afterthought. Like you said, like, people were there for either just to drink, just to be at a bar, or just to be there for the show after. But, a lot more of the venues are making comedy the number one attraction. And it's grown enough to where there's enough people supporting it to that want comedy, that it is the main attraction, and bars can, take that risk and give us a platform.
How do you do comedy on social media? Do you like, how do you see social media as a comedian? Like from your perspective, is that like something, because you've seen like Ralph Barbosa and like Matt Rife, all these fools blow up on TikTok. Like, does that make you want to post more, be more creative in the online space, or how does that
makes me want to work out more? I'll tell you that. No, it's I wish I was better at social media, to be honest with you. I've always just been someone who like when you produce shows, you want to get the word out there, but once you start posting all the time, you have regular shows, it could kind of fall on deaf ears. People are like, yeah, he's doing another comedy show, we get it, but I've definitely gone into more of like targeted ads and email lists and all that stuff, and that's kind of helped grow everything naturally. And well, the email list, the ads are like not so natural, a little forced, but just kind of relying on repeat people, local people that want to support the local comedy scene, and also people that are visiting Palm Springs, look for something to do. We get a lot of that, fortunately.
That is true. It's like that's something overlooked, and it's a tourist town.
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
You go to Vegas. Sometimes you go to Vegas like, oh shit, I have a show on Saturday, but like I'm here on Friday. Let me see what's going on. You're checking
100%.
all the shows.
Yeah.
So that's someone told me that recently. I was like, oh, I didn't even think of it like that.
Yeah. And, you do have to rely on the people that live here, because they're like constantly here. But it's hard for them to come every Saturday. If you have a show every Saturday or whatever, it's like they're not going to be able to make it, every time. And that's understandable. So you do have to kind of rely on people that are visiting that have never seen you before and, whatever. And that's kind of how you expand your audience too, because when they go back home to Minnesota or Canada or Seattle, they're like, hey, when you do visit, they talk to their friends. They go, hey, when you do visit, there's a really cool comedy show at Coachella Valley Brewery or whatever venue. And then that expands naturally that way. So, yeah.
What's another thing is like, if someone wants to get into comedy, like how do you recommend someone to take the first step? Is it like go to an open mic, or how do you take the first step when you're a comedian?
I mean, my first step was, doing stand-up at my 6th grade talent show. That was my first step, and not advisable when you're 10 years old to get on stage in front of your peers, and that was really rough. But anyone that either watches this or watches comedy, a big fan of comedy, I would say look up any local open mics. That's the best way to do it. I would say don't go to a comedy show and like try to heckle and like try to, be funny from the audience. I wouldn't recommend that. That's what a lot of people tend to do. They go to a comedy show and they're like, oh, I want to help out, talk and, whatever. And I'm funny with my friends. It's like, yeah, you're just ruining the show,
Have you ever had like a problem with the heckler before?
I mean, the more bar shows you do, when you do casino shows or like, whatever, I mean, there's few and far between instances where someone, is a little overserved or, doing whatever. But, Yeah, for the most part, that's kind of died down. But yeah, you do these kind of independent shows in a place where there's not really a lot of comedy. You get people that kind of are a little chirpy. But you know, you just kind of got to go with the flow, got to deal with it, and hopefully there's any sort of security there that can like talk to them and be like, hey, you know, like get out of here. But
what's like the protocol? Someone's because I started doing a couple shows and we've had hecklers at our show.
Oh,
like,
really? Okay.
We've had them a lot. No disrespect to them. Actually, don't fucking heckle us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had I mean, people could drink a little too much, you know. So like, how do you do it? Like, cause I've seen like the big comedy shows, they have security walk up to people.
Yeah.
But then it's like we have a small show, so I don't want to fucking get the security guard.
It could be a little.
We don't have security for so.
Yeah. Don't say it too loud, you know. But it could be a little awkward, especially in a small room. But I think the biggest thing is just to be like, hey, I know you think you're like helping or like whatever, or you know, because. You know, there's a few different types of hecklers. People that want to, you know, try to add to the show by like, you know, like saying something funny or what they think is funny, but you're really just interrupting, you know, what someone has. Or they're like offended by something, like, yo, hey, screw you or whatever. But usually the people that are upset with something, they gotta go. You know, like they're like, hey,
does that still happen? Like people getting upset at jokes? Does it happen here in the desert?
It happens everywhere, man. Like as long as people are telling jokes, there will be people that are offended by jokes. So
even then they go to a comedy show expecting to, what do people expect when like how do you I don't know.
I mean, there's I don't even know if it's people that like, you know, want to go to a comedy show or the people that get offended, you know, because you know, you've been to comedy shows, like you want to see something, you know, that like kind of toes the line and, you know, whatever. And even if you are offended, you're like, you know what, like, you know, it probably didn't come from a place of hate or
just
whatever.
Trying to make it funny, you know?
Yeah. The person on stage is trying to make you laugh, you know, no matter what they say, it's probably, you know, they thought it was funny at one point and so they're saying it. But, you know, sorry, what was get back on track? What was it again?
Fuck. What was it?
What were that? We have a live audience here. Where
live audience. It was
replay the tapes.
Oh shit!
But hecklers, right?
Hecklers.
Yeah.
People
get offended.
People get offended at shows. There you go.
Yeah, I got lost in my own words. I think. I mean, I'm not no scientist or whatever on the you know comedy or whatever, but you know, a lot of people get drag to shows, you know, like their friends go, hey, we're getting this group together, we're all gonna go to the show, and you know, maybe there's people in the audience that don't necessarily want to be there, you know, and so it's like, you know, that could be a case of it too. Like, you know, a girlfriend, you know, drags her boyfriend to a show, or a boyfriend drags a girlfriend to the show, and then the girlfriend has never seen this comic, and maybe that comic's a little more offensive, a little not so PC, and you know, like it's not really their cup of tea, but it's not like they bought the tickets, you know, so it's like they're just, you know, a little extra angry. But I don't know. That's just what I've heard, what I've seen potentially happen. So,
what's like some piece of advice? Like, how do you write comedy? How do you go from something funny happens to you? Do you write some notes down? How do you even come up with material? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has different ways. I think majority of my stuff is like, yeah, something happens and like, you know, you write a little note about it and then like you look back on it and like you might add some things that make it more funny because, you know, most of the time things are only funny in the moment. You know, like something how you trip on something. It's like you could tell someone, hey, I just tripped. I almost, you know, like fell on my face, whatever. That's not really funny, you know, but if you add some more stuff to it, you know, that could potentially lead to a joke. There's definitely some stories that I have that have made their way to the stage or just like reading news stories. And you just kind of see something. That's a writing exercise I like to do is kind of write jokes in the form of like Weekend Update style. Yeah. You know, like that sort of thing. So, you know, everyone has different ways of doing it. Sometimes you just go up on stage and, you know, just kind of wing it and, you know, whatever.
Do you do that often? Like read the crowd and try to just improv? Is that something you try to do?
I mean, my background is in improv. I started in comedy sports in San Jose through high school and then professionally when I turned 18. But that's not the best way to go about it, you know, like because it's you're really going up there without a safety net, you know. So I tend to, you know, kind of have an outline, and then, you know, if I'm really not feeling in the mood or like whatever, I could kind of play off the audience and, you know, kind of riff a little bit and just kind of speak what's on my mind. And, you know, sometimes that turns into something too. But it's always good to go up with kind of a game plan. So
What was the best set you've ever done that you're like, damn, that crowd was in it? All my deliveries are badass.
they've all been like that, you know.
Never had a bad.
No, I wish.
I never bombed once in my life.
Never. No. It's kind of funny. Like you go through ebbs and flows. You know, like I'll have a really great show. I feel like it went really well. You know, you hear people, you know, compliment you after or whatever. And you're like riding this high, and then the next show you do, you just eat it, and you're just like, what did I do differently? Like, why is this not going that well? But yeah, the best set, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, at this point, 6 years in, like, you know, there's so many shows you've done or I've done, and you know, whatever. And yeah, it's hard to pinpoint just like one or two. But
and how do you feel when you're bombing, like in the middle of that, like, you know, your joke's not hitting and it's not hitting, you're like, damn, I just gotta fucking time's moving so slow. Like, how do you?
Yeah, it's like public humiliation. It's pretty bad. Luckily, like, you know, I've made a fool of myself on and off stage, so like it's kind of natural for me to embarrass myself. But I remember the times I've bombed. I was at the Hollywood Improv for their open mic a few years back, and oh my God, like that's the first time I had like a physical reaction to bombing, you know? Cause like sixth grade talent show, I didn't do very well, but like, you know, you're so young and innocent or whatever. You're like, yeah, like, you know, I embarrassed myself, but like, how bad is it really? Like I'm 10. But the Hollywood Improv, like performing in front of like your peers, you know, other comedians and not getting any laughs and just people looking at you. I like my mouth dried up. I got beet red, like sweating, like it. I don't wish that upon anyone. It's really terrible. So anyone that wants to get into stand up, just be ready for that. That does happen. That does happen. So
and what's like your plan with comedy right now? Well, you're the one you're doing a lot, hosting shows at the casino, doing the comedy festival. Like, do you want to kind of establish something here in the desert, or do you want to move to LA to be more where the big shows are?
Yeah, I mean, I just I'm kind of going where the wind takes me, you know. I didn't expect to move down here. I didn't expect to, you know, be where I'm at today. You know, just kind of putting your head down and working and seeing where that takes me. So whatever that next step is, I don't know, but I just really love the Valley. I love the community out here. I love you know, everything that's led up to this, and hopefully to continue that, and don't really have any plans to pick up and leave. Yeah. You know, because once you establish something, you know, it's kind of cool to.
You get excited. You want to just keep building.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a little, you know, it's like a little nest egg, a little baby, you know, and it's like, you know, keep nurturing it and, you know, seeing where it grows. Yeah.
And now going back to the comedy show happening in March. So other information, you're gonna have vendors there, you're gonna have what's there besides the comedy, so people know.
So we're talking to some food vendors. In the past we've had like, you know, tacos, pizzas, you know, stuff like that. We haven't solidified any vendors yet, but once we do, we'll be posting about it. We have a few sponsors. The Desert International Horse Park is a sponsor, and Can-Am Construction. We're still looking for other sponsors too, but it's there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff going on there. You know, hopefully like a photo booth, you know, stuff like that. So stuff for everyone to do when they're not watching comedy too.
Yeah,
like eating good food, taking pictures, you know, doing all that stuff. So
yeah, especially, you know, people want to. There's nothing to do out here in the desert. That's what people another complain is like there's never shit going on. But now that, I mean, that sounds super cool. I went to the first one. I couldn't go last year. Yeah. And we were doing something that day. Yeah. And I was like, damn, we couldn't make it. But I still have the shirt from the first one.
Oh, nice. Yeah. We did a total rebrand. So hopefully, you know, you get a shirt this year too. It's complete. Like the first year and second year, you know, you're kind of working out everything, working out the kinks, we're seeing what works, what doesn't work. But the shirts were really similar. So, you know, kept it kind of low key, but, you know, this year it's total new color scheme, new design. And so, it's pretty, it looks pretty legit. I'm really excited about it. So,
and then, last year you said they stole some shirts from you.
I was robbed. Yeah. I was burglarized. I was burgled. Yeah,
The shirts,
so
yeah, that merch was going. It was like the next Supreme, bro. People were broke into your car.
it was a hot commodity. I don't think the person who stole them knew what they were getting themselves into, but yeah. So I ordered the shirts, right, and I'm real excited to give them out to comics so they could wear them for the festival. I usually get them about 3 weeks before the festival, so everyone can kind of get them to wear on the day, which is pretty exciting. But the night before the festival, or night before, 2 nights before, it was right before the festival. I had about 30 shirts, 30 of the 200 in the backseat of my car, and I have like tinted windows, like you can't really see in, especially at night. And like I wake up at like 5 a.m. My neighbor was leaving for work, and he texts me. He's like, "Yo, like your back window's busted." And so I get up. I'm like, I felt like in a daze. I'm like, what's going on? So I walk out there, and yeah, sure enough, my window's shattered, and there's nothing in my back seat. And so, sent out the bat signal, like I've been robbed. Like, shirts are gone. And so, but that actually, it was really cool to see the response of everyone. Like the local community, people that have been to comedy shows in the past, the local comedians, like. I didn't even ask for this, but like within like 20 minutes, one of the local comics, Mac, he set up a GoFundMe, like save the festival, not that the festival was in danger of like not happening, but I was like, hey, you might want to tone it down a little bit, like save the festival. That's a little much. But I'm like, yeah, like maybe bring some shirts back, or buy the shirts that we have. Cause the first 2 years, that's how I funded the festival. Was all the shirts that I sold, I would use the profits to pay all the to pay all the comics that were coming from out of town, because there was no tickets, there was no we had some sponsors, but there really wasn't any other source of income. So the having 30 shirts stolen was like stealing from the comics, stealing pay from them. So it was kind of a big deal. But yeah, the outpour of support was immense. And
that's good. Bad publicity is good publicity.
Any publicity, like, so I mean, so we're
so that was a good scheme, you and your neighbor to get that, bro.
we're planning a terrorist attack this year. So I hope not. I hope nothing happens. I don't even want to put that in the air. Oh man. No, please do not target my house or anything. I swear to God.
Shirts are gonna fly on the shelves.
It was but when it happened, I was pretty devastated. Like it's such a helpless place to be when your car gets broken into, because it's like, it's just sitting out there, and like I don't know if you've ever had your car broken into. I mean, a lot of people have, especially if you live in San Francisco. But it's a real problem, and like insurances, like sometimes deductibles don't even, like let's say your deductible is $500. It's like, a window costs like $250, $300. So you're paying out of pocket. And most of the time they don't find the guy. I have a camera outside my house. All I saw was the guy's shoes, like I couldn't get him. I couldn't like find him. So, it's just like, the shirts are gone, the window's broken, and I'm just sitting here like, great, what do we do now? So, it definitely, everyone's support, it made me feel like, people care about it. And so that's the kind of community we have, is people that, when someone's down, or someone that's doing something to support everyone, people care about that. Yeah. People came through. So that's huge. Love that.
No, that's good. I know. So for people that want to support, that people want to go to the show, where can people find more information? Do you have a link, a website, or?
Yeah. I mean, I'll send you all that stuff. But if you look up Coachella Valley Brewery Comedy Fest, you could probably find that if you just Google search it, or on Eventbrite. That's where the tickets will be. On Eventbrite, you could buy a 3-day VIP pass, general admission, or just a 1-day VIP pass. The VIP passes come with preferred seating and a Comedy Fest t-shirt.
Sick.
Yeah, if we still
it's
have
the vintage
them.
t-shirt.
Yeah, they're not stolen. But so you are getting the VIP is definitely worth it.
Yeah, supporting and also getting something.
Supporting,
to remember.
And you're getting something out of it. So that's I never want to yeah, I never want to price anyone out of anything. And so there's also going to be promo codes going around. Every local comic will have a promo code to give people that, you know, kind of are in the know. You need a little homie hookup, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, because that's the biggest thing is like,
Yeah.
I just want, you know, people to be there supporting local comedy and, you know, enjoying the day or the days, you know,
The days.
Yeah, the
and
days.
That's the great weekend before the big festivals, you know?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
first
It's perfect.
festival, start of the festival season. You know?
Perfect timing, you know, like right before all the other big festivals out here. And, you know, that's when most people are in town, like perfect weather, late March, like, you know, not really too rainy, not really too windy, you know, like, so yeah, it should be good, you know, praying for a good time.
Well, most likely going to be there as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully we get to see some good comedians. Hopefully. So if you're watching this video, make sure you guys check out the links, support the comedy festival, and that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Sounds good, man.
Thank you for coming, bro.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you.
Thanks for having me.